Here's my review of Fallout 76. It's a bad Fallout game, and it's a bad video game in general. This is the next area that I have to go to for what they're calling our main quest, which is basically revolved around finding holotapes and listening to them. And I can't get anywhere near the building I want to, because it's spawned a public event here, which has me fighting off waves and waves of Scorched, which are basically just raiders with a zombie skin applied to them because they shoot you with guns, much like raiders did in previous games. And there's a giant level 50 thing flying above that if I were to aggro the Scorched Beast's friends, the Scorched underneath me, would then just insta-kill me. So I literally can't play the storyline of the very little story of what's here because of a random public event. Looking at the map, there's that one, and there's public events over here, and there's events over here, and here, and you don't get the opportunity to opt out of any of them because you have to be online all the time. Like, if I want to go and do the main story, I have to basically wait until that event ends so I can get anywhere near it. The gameplay itself then is just not fun. It handles like Fallout 4, except that VATS doesn't stop the game, it just slows it down and gives you a percentage chance to hit things. So you can't really use it to assess the situation, decide what you want to do. VATS is terrible when you're starting out until you put a bunch of points of perception. You don't have any points to put into your character because of the fact that you start with ones and everything, and it takes forever to be able to level up anything and use anything. The perks that you can get are pretty useless because they do things like plus 10% punching damage. There's no way to see what perks you can unlock as you go, so there's no way to, like, say, prepare your build, like with the Fallout 4 perk chart, where you could see that, say, you need strong back is 6 strength, so you'll be able to plan out your character and decide to get that. Bobbleheads are 1 hour items that expire. You have to manage your food and water levels, and practically anything you use to do those also gives you radiation. And then the only way of getting rid of radiation is with Radaway, which then also gives you the ability to get increased thirst, hunger, and chance for disease. It feels an awful lot like Metal Gear Survive in some ways, in that the game seems to actively hate you playing it, because it makes everything that you could possibly do a few steps more awkward than it has to be. The online connectivity stuff results in forced public events you don't want to go into, and not being able to access things like terminals or workbenches because there'll be random players using them, and there's nothing you can do about moving them on until they're ready to get out of the way. You can choose not to participate in PvP if you go into the options menu and go all the way down here to settings and the game and turn on pacifist mode. But in pacifist mode, you're choosing not to participate in player versus player combat, and you're choosing not to initiate it because other people can still murder you. That's not choosing not to participate in PvP, that's choosing to be unable to defend yourself because you can just be murdered by anyone with enough ammo and patience. Things that you find in the world have level requirements, so like you can't even say get a good gun from a friend, like something that's not a terrible piece of junk, because if you give you an assault rifle, it's level 20, you can't use it to level 20. There's the requirements to find recipes to craft things for when you're setting up your base, to find and dismantle guns to be able to get modification plans to be able to make those. You can listen to holotape logs, except that if a public event starts, then it'll cut in over the radio and disturb what you're listening to. It's just bad all round. I'm going to have to say Seedge says avoid, because what I've played of it has just been tedious chores, monotonous boringness, and none of it feels good to play. In a couple of years' time, when they've patched it, when they've got private servers and you can play just you and a couple of friends and explore the world, it might be more fun then. But what's here now is not worth any of your money.